This is lesson number 40, Polynomial Nomenclature and Degree. We're first going to start out with learning what a term is. We've talked about it in class a little bit, but today we're going to sharpen it up and make sure you really understand what a term is. We're going to work on classifying polynomials by number. On the back side, we're going to classify them by degree, and then we'll do a little bit of practice. Just a heads up, I do have some typos on these guided notes. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, I got about 5 typos. So we'll fix those as we go along. So let's go to the front side, let's fill it all in and get through it and learn it at the same time. Here it is. Every algebraic expression contains one or more terms. Terms are groups of numbers and or variables that are multiplied or divided, multiplied together or divided by each other. As a general rule of thumb, terms are separated by, and this is the most important one, plus signs and minus signs. Let's do an example. It says circle each term in the following algebraic expressions. Then determine the number of terms in each algebraic expression. So the first thing we're going to do is circle them. And I got to remember that plus signs and minus signs separate terms, or they separate one term from another term. For example, here's the beginning of this starts the first one. My first minus sign or plus sign is right here. So this is really the beginning, see, the end of the first term and the beginning of the second one. So when I circle this, I get a circle like this because this minus sign doesn't go with the first one, it goes with the second one. And if I keep going, here's the next minus sign or next plus sign. This guy separates the second term from the third term, and then I circle them. So I have 3 terms on that one. Let's do the next one. Here I've got to separate the terms because I have a minus sign right here. Next one, there's my plus sign right here. Here's my next minus sign, so that's what I'm going to next. And then the end. So I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 terms on that one. Here's the minus sign, so I'll separate it right there. That's where I kind of cut. This is where I cut again. And I finished off. So I have 3 terms on that one. Here's the minus sign, so that's where I cut. So I have 2 terms. And this one, it's it. This is it. So I have just 1 term right there. 1 term. Okay, so that's what a term is. Terms are separated by plus signs and minus signs. Next thing we're going to do is classify the terms by number, or classify the polynomial by number. And we have 4 names, 4 terms, or four vocabulary words we have to know. First one's called a monomial. Mono means 1. So an algebraic expression containing only 1 term. An example that would be 3x squared. 1 term. Monomial. Binomial, like bicycle, is 2. So an algebraic expression containing exactly 2 terms. An example that would be 3x squared plus 5x. Tri, like a tricycle, has 3 wheels. So an algebraic expression containing exactly 3 terms, and that would be 3x squared plus 5x minus 1. And then poly. Poly means more than 1. So an algebraic expression containing 2 or more terms. A couple other things we need to know. All binomials and trinomials are classified as polynomials. I mean, think of it. Polynomial is 2 or more terms. Well, then these 2 have to be polynomials. So a binomial and a trinomial are also classified as trinomials. I'm sorry. Binomials, I need to slow down. Binomials and trinomials are classified as polynomials as well. So we could have said This guy up here is a polynomial. And we could have also said that this guy right here, he's a trinomial. He's got 3 terms. But we could also classify him as a polynomial. All right, this is where my typos start to come into play here. So let's fix those real quick. Not only do I have typos, but I have pins that don't work. So let's cross out the is and the a, and we need an extra long blank here. And we need to put an S right there. So fix that first. That's an S. And let's see if we can answer these questions. So it says, which of the above examples is a monomial? Well, we're going to go back up here and look at these guys. So which of these are monomials? Monomials are going to be one term. So we only have one of them that has one term. And so that's going to be letter E. Next one, which of the above examples is a binomial? Binomial has 2 terms. That'll be letter D. Which of the above examples, we need to probably put an R in here, are trinomials? Well, we've got 2 trinomials. We've got 2 of them that are 3 terms. So A and C are trinomials. And the last one, which above examples are polynomials? Polynomials, more than 1 term. So it's not going to be this one over here. It's all the rest of them. So it's going to be A, B, C, and D. Those are all polynomials. Backside. Next term we have to learn is degree. The degree of each term, that's important, the degree of each term in a polynomial is the exponent of the variable, exponent. So I have an example, and here it is here. I'm going to go ahead and circle the terms. So there's my first one, there's my second one, and there's my third one. Question is, how many terms does the preceding polynomial contain? Has 3 terms. Classify the polynomial by the number of terms. So what's its name? We call that a trinomial. What is the degree of the first term? All right, now this is where you got to find the exponents on the variable. So here's your first term, here's my variable, and there is its degree. So the degree of the first one is 2. All right, the degree of the second term, here's the second term, here's the variable, and the exponent on that variable is a 1. So the degree of the second term is a 1. All right, the next question, what's the degree of the third term? Here's the third term, it's 12. Since there's no variable, then we say that its degree is 0. So if a term does not contain a variable, its degree is 0. All right, the next one. The degree of an entire polynomial. So this one up here was each term. This is the degree of each term individually. Now we want the degree of the whole thing. To determine the degree of the entire polynomial, it is equal to the degree of its highest term. Okay, so we got to find the highest term. And if we go back up here, the first term was 2, second term was 1, third term was 0. The highest term was 2. So the degree of the whole polynomial is 2. Sometimes people add these up and you don't add them up. It's just the highest one. So the degree of the polynomial is also an indication of the shape of its graph. And we've done that. We did that a couple lessons ago, and we're going to review that in just a moment. So let's go through and see if we can do these examples right here. So the first step, first part of the direction, says circle each term. So we'll circle the terms. And I'm just going to go through all of them and circle the terms. Zero in a little bit so you can kind of see them. So there's the first one. There's just one term here. Remember, you cut the terms Our terms are divided or separated by plus signs and minus signs. So there's one, and there's that one, and there's that guy. Okay, the next set of directions say classify them by degree. So we want the degree of the whole term, or the whole polynomial. So I'm going to go through and figure out the degree of each one. I'll write them right at the top. So the degree of the first term, here's the variable, there's the exponent, and that's the degree. Variable, exponent, degree. Variable, exponent, degree. If it doesn't have a variable, it's 0. Variable, exponent, degree. 1, I almost wrote 0. Variable, exponent, degree. No variable, so it's 0. No variable, 0. Variable, exponent, there's going to be 1. Variable, exponent, degree. No variable is 0. So if I go back over here, the degree of each one of these is equal to the highest one. So the degree of the first one is going to be 3. This one's easy because it's just 1. Letter C is going to be 4. This is 0. And that's 2. Okay, now we want to classify it by the number of terms. So how many we got? So this has 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we call that a polynomial. One term would be a monomial. 2 terms is a binomial. 1 term is a monomial. And 3 terms is a trinomial. Okay, the last part is graphing. And this is my last typo on this one. We don't need this blank here. Okay, remember if we have a 3 here, I'm not sure if you remember from a couple lessons ago, but a 3, its shape or function is going to be cubic. If it has a 1 as an exponent, we call that linear. Remember, graphs is a straight line. Cubic. Cubic is going to look like this. Remember that? And the last one, if it's a 2, we call that quadratic. And that was from several lessons ago. So just to review. All right, there it is. We'll see you tomorrow.